So this happened about 6 years ago when I was 20 years old. So I came home after sleeping at my boyfriend's place. It was like 8 a.m. It was super early because my boyfriend had to start his shift. When I got home, my parents were gone already like an hour earlier due to their holiday vacation. So basically, I was home alone, and I knew it. You have to know that my father is super paranoid, and there's no way that he could forget to close the windows before leaving the house for 2 weeks, and even if I stayed, because I used to sleep at my boyfriend's house most of the time. But I was barely awake, so I just closed the door. I checked the kitchen and the living room just to be sure, and then went back up to my room. There are 3 rooms on the second floor. I ended up closing my door to my room, and I don't know why, because I never do. I was scrolling on my phone, and like 5 minutes later, I heard footsteps right at my door. Someone was there the whole time while I was vulnerably going about my day. I was terrified. My heart stopped. I couldn't move. I just took the first thing in front of me to defend myself, which was my Babyliss. I stared at my door, waiting for the person to open up and kill me or worse. I was ready to jump out of the window and harm myself if I had seen that door open. Minutes passed, and I heard the person go down the stairs. I don't know how long I stayed there immobile, but eventually I called my boyfriend and he came to rescue me. At first, I thought it was crazy because I didn't see anything or I couldn't believe that it was really happening. But my boyfriend confirmed that they forced the window open in the kitchen so they were really here. He said that they were silently waiting for me to sleep to get out of the house. That whole time, I thought I was home alone, feeling safe, but in all actuality, I was not. This was a traumatizing experience, and I can barely stay alone anywhere without freaking out today. I live alone, and I'm constantly afraid of someone trying to break in. And the worst part of it all is that they didn't take anything. My mom's MacBook and jewelry, my PS4, my dad's gaming system setup. Everything was easy to take, but they didn't take it. I can't stop thinking that they were there for another reason, and I'm so glad that I didn't find out. You also have to know that at the time I was very active on Snapchat. I used to post every day and put on my story every part of my day. So the 5K of unknown followers that I had on social media knew everything about me at this time. And I think this may be related. Since then, I stopped my activities on Snapchat. This story may not be creepy to the general public, but it definitely made me nervous at the time. When I was 12 years old in 2007, I was home alone babysitting my 2 younger siblings while my parents were out at an event. This was around the summertime, so it stayed light outside for a while into the evening. Just as it was starting to get dark, I went into the kitchen to make us a bowl of popcorn to watch a movie with my brother and sister. When I looked out of the kitchen window, I saw that there was a car parked hiding in the tree line of our yard. For context, we lived in a fairly rural place and we rarely had people in our direction unless they lived down our gravel road and we knew our neighbors' cars. This was a junkie beater and the license plates had been taped over. It was not one of our neighbors. I was a kid who was pretty aware of my surroundings, and I decided to step back from the big kitchen window and go into the dark hallway to get a better look. There was just a single man sitting in it staring directly at my house with the lights off. Immediately, I locked the front and back door. I told my little brother and sister calmly to go play in their room and not to come out until I came and got them for movie night. Then I went back to the kitchen to get the phone to call my mom, but she didn't answer. I watched them through the curtains, sit there in the dark tree line and stare at the house for what felt like ages. Finally, someone drove down our road and their headlights reflected off of the car. He started the engine, drove out of the trees and booked it down the gravel. I was very nervous and tired, calling my mom again. No answer. So for the rest of the time, I just played with my siblings in their room with the doors shut and curtains pulled until my parents came home later that night. When I tried telling my parents what had happened, they were convinced that I was making it all up and that I was being a dramatic kid. I swore up and down that I saw this car with blacked out plates in the tree line and they weren't even interested at all. I know what I saw, but I'm the only kid who did. Maybe it was just some random guy who didn't know that there was 3 kids home alone hiding for some other reason, but I'm still glad that I locked all of the doors. I just woke up in the middle of the night remembering this, and I need to get it off my chest. When I was about 16, my dad, my brothers, and I lived in an old rundown house in the middle of nowhere. It was a private rental, and my brother would do work on the land for the landlord to pay our rent. My landlord never came off as particularly creepy, but that would be because I rarely went outside when he came to talk to my dad, and he wouldn't dare do anything in front of my dad. I was home alone one day. My dad and brothers went out somewhere, I don't remember. I had my dog in a fenced-in yard outside, but that was about it. I was in my room doing whatever I was doing. I probably was playing Sims 2. We lived in the middle of nowhere, and there was a long driveway which the window of my bedroom directly faced. I could see or hear anyone driving up the driveway. I saw a car, not my dad's, and immediately freaked out. I ran and shut all of the blinds in the house, turned off all of the lights, and checked all of the doors to see if they were locked. It was our landlord. He lived next door about 2 miles from our house, and yes, that was the closest house. This wasn't the first time he'd come here unexpectedly. It happened twice before, and both times I was home alone. Those first 2 times, he was only there for about 10 minutes, walking around, looking outside of the house, and then quickly leaving. But this time was different. I grabbed a big kitchen knife and hid under the kitchen table. I heard him pulling up and opening up the front gate. My dog outside was going crazy and barking. I heard him yell, "Shut up, Mutt." I could hear his footsteps walking up to the door. He tried to open the front door. I was freaking out. At this point, I texted my dad. He was coming straight home, but he'd be there in like an hour. He continued to walk around the outside of our house, trying to peek into the windows. The house is an old house, and there's 3 doors that you can enter from the outside. He tried all 3 of them. I thought maybe he didn't know I was home. Maybe the last 2 were just a coincidence, but he started saying things, including calling my name. He knew I was home alone. I couldn't hear what else he was saying through the double brick walls, but I quietly creeped through the house following his voice up and down the hallway. I was trying to hear what he was saying, and that's when he said something I'll never forget.
"I'm gonna burn the house down, but I'll let you out first."
Of course I didn't take him seriously, which scares me even more. He wanted me to come out. He wanted me to take his threat seriously. That's the part that gets me. I know exactly what would have happened if I believed him, and my life would have been completely different. He was there for at least 30 minutes and maybe close to an hour. He was persistent. He left before my dad came. I told him everything and we moved out soon after. I still don't know how he knew I was home alone. My dad never saw him on the way driving out, so he knew my dad was gone because there was no car in the driveway. But how did he know that I wasn't with him? That's why I say, to the dickhead creep landlord, we'll never meet again.
Bye-bye.
So I never shared this story publicly, but my family was reminiscing and it came up, so I thought I'd share it here. During mine and my brother's senior year, my family decided to move 45 minutes away. My brother and I decided that we wanted to finish our senior year at the new school, so we chose to stay with friends and move when we graduated. My mom and dad and little sister loaded up a U-Haul, and the plan was for me to stay one more night at home after I finished work and for my friends to help me pack after school. When I was finished with my shift at 9 p.m. and made it home, I was surprised to see my brother's car in the driveway. I entered the house and I could clearly hear him talking from his room. I assumed it was him and his girlfriend, and I knocked on the door to tell him that I was home and good night. However, when I knocked, the talking stopped immediately and there was no answer. Annoyed, I said, "Fine, be that way." Our rooms are right next to each other's. I got ready for bed, showered, made a snack, and went to my room and decided to lock my door as I was annoyed and hurt by my brother's actions towards me. I went to sleep, and around 2 a.m. I heard my doorknob shaking and a door being pushed on. I could hear talking, but I couldn't make out what was being said. I sat up and I called my brother's name. "Logan? Hello?" I got up and I ran to the door, and as I swung it open, I heard his door slam shut. I again yelled for him. "Logan, what do you want? Hello? Why are you being such a jerk?" I again closed my door and locked it and went back to sleep. In the morning, I woke up and I went to school. My brother's car was gone and his room was empty, suggesting that he went to school too. During my walk to school, I called my mother asking her, "What's Logan's deal?" My mother asked me what I meant by that, and I explained. Last night when I knocked on his door, he ignored me, and in the middle of the night he tried to open my door, then ran back to his room when I opened my door. Why is he acting like that? My mother then informed me that she had spoken to my brother last night. He had spent the night at a friend's house and called her that morning when he said he was going to pick up his car. Logan was not in the house at all last night. I was extremely shaken and enlisted my friend's parents to help me collect my things, explaining to them what had happened to me the previous night. When we entered the house, we were completely baffled by what we saw. The place was completely ransacked. Our mattresses were cut down in the middle. Kitchen cabinets had their glass contents tossed all over the floors. Our clothes were cut and destroyed. My cat was hiding under my bed, completely shaken and unwilling to come out, even for me. Still to this day, I have no idea who spent the night with me that night, and I fear what could have happened. As a 17-year-old girl, if I had opened that door and they chose to confront me, or if I had decided not to lock my door because I was annoyed with my brother and they gained access only to see me fast asleep, it still gives me chills to think that I spent an entire night with complete strangers. Good evening, everyone. This is Yuri K, and this is the end of the video. Please leave a comment and let us know your opinions on the matter. If you happen to like this content, please check out our other videos. Make sure you like and share amongst your friends and family to help our community grow. You happen to be new to this channel? Please make sure you subscribe. It's free, and you can always change it in the future. You have some terrifying story suggestions? If so, make sure that you send it to my email, fearofthedarkstories@gmail.com, and I'll feature it in a future segment. But you guys stay safe out there, and remember to always be afraid of the dark.